What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great night out there. It is Thursday, a little after 7:30 here, and I've had quite a long day. I'm not going to lie to you. Hopefully you enjoyed the little bit of sun and then the bit of rain and just this weather in PA. Too much for me, but I'm pumped up, ready to talk some birds with you. And, well, we're in that free agent season during our, of course, sicko season. So we're going to go down through each and every position, talk about what the Eagles have at that position, all of the free agents out there, from unrestricted to restricted to the exclusive rights guys, and then, of course, the top fits for the Eagles. We'll do this with each position. We started this yesterday, talked about the quarterbacks. I will go through each and every position each day. Tomorrow, we're having Fan Friday Live, so we'll not have the wide receivers until Saturday. But after that, all those videos will be put out, leading you into free agency. And, baby boy, let me tell you, I'm pumped up about this Eagles team. And we've talked about the things they need to do, all of their free agents. You can go check out those videos that are out. But it's sicko season, baby. So let's talk some free agents here. But, of course, first and foremost, let's show you that Eagles cap space. So anytime it changes, I will show you. But at the beginning of each of these videos, I want you to know how much we have. So $22,375,816. So you're going to hear some weirdo that has no idea how the cap works tell you need 10 mil for the draft picks. No, you don't. You need about 2 to 3 million, which people would understand how this stuff works. But regardless, we've got cap space. So anybody we want to sign, anything you want to do, you can do it. You want to bring back Zach Bond, you want to get Mekhi Becton back here, try to keep Milton Williams, Josh Sweat. A lot of things are possible here. You want to make a trade. I know a lot of names, Myles Garrett, people throwing out there. So a lot could happen if they wanted it to. But we've got a pretty damn good team. A lot of young pieces, and we like to draft and continue to be good, not just, a flash in the pan. So we're here to dominate for the future. Got a lot of the core pieces, but you continue adding to it. Now, you can do that in free agency. So let's take a look at this running back position and, well, what the Eagles have going on and if they should be looking in the draft or free agency or possibly both. Now, Saquon and Will Shipley are the only guys that we have under contract. Now, reserve future guys will be under contract during this offseason. So Lou Nichols, Tyrion Davis-Price, they will both have a chance to compete this offseason. But guys like Kenny Gainwell, Kari Blasingame, they are free games. So anybody who wants to go sign them, they can. And I think, obviously, Will Shipley, we talked about before the draft. He was one of my top fits for the Eagles. Talked about this moment where Kenny Gainwell was going to be a free agent, needed Will Shipley to hopefully be ready to take over as RB2. And I think he is. You talk about, his running ability, his catching, his return game. The kid's got skill, and he's learning under Saquon Barkley. So I love every moment of that. Now, Lou Nichols, Tyrion Davis-Price, they're fun to watch in the preseason. But do you want to add more to that position? And I think that's a definite possibility. So we'll be looking at that in the draft as well. Saquon Barkley, here for the next few years, hopefully. But always want to, get ready for the future. Now, Will Shipley, I've told you, I think the kid is the future. But regardless, so we'll talk about that when the draft comes around, where I think the Eagles should look. Now, right here, right now, we're going to talk about these running backs. Now, it says 46, but honestly, I've got 7 more than the 46. We've got 53 total because, well, I added the fullbacks. So we're not going to leave them out. But let's take a gander here, and always like to start it off with the, exclusive rights, the restricted, guys like that. So restricted guys you have here, obviously, these guys, if someone throws them an offer, their team can match that offer. If they are lost to another team, you can get something in return for them. A lot of times that's based off of where they're drafted. So you got guys like Craig Reynolds, John Kelly, Blackshear, Chestnut, Rivers, Jalen Warren there, and Jordan Mason. Now, the way I list these is just by how much they were being paid last year. So, look, any of these guys, if their team wants to keep them, they can do, what they will. Now, other teams, they can take a shot, try to sign these guys. We'll see what happens there. But those are your restricted free agents. Now, you have exclusive rights free agents, and those guys, they either sign the tender that their team gives them, and, restricted is 3 years under. This is 2 years under. So guys that have only played for 2 accrued seasons here, their team has the ability to, just throw them a tender, and if they don't sign it, they pretty much don't play. Now, if their team doesn't tender them, they can become free agents, but you got Rodriguez, Wilson, and Wright here, so we'll see if their teams want them back or not. Now, we do have an exclusive rights fullback. So Robert Burns from Atlanta, he is actually somebody that also can be tendered if they want to keep him. So just want to throw that out there. Now, let's look at these running backs, the unrestricted guys. Anybody can sign them. You've got some talented names here. Aaron Jones topping it off. Mostert was released. You got Najee Harris, A.J. Dillon, Nick Chubb, Javonte Williams, Madison, Homer Abdul. I mean, got a lot of guys here. Wilson, J.K. Dobbins there, Edmonds. You've got a lot of talent here, and, that's great. But for me, I feel pretty good about Shipley and Barkley. So I'm looking more at the back end guys. I'm not looking to try to hit one of these home runs. But there are some guys that I was tempted to throw in my top fits. I'll just give it away here. Guys like Javonte Williams that didn't pan out. Maybe you could find him on a cheap deal. I like J.K. Dobbins, but I think he's earned some money. We're not going to pay that to him. And maybe some other guys that, kick the can, see what's going on. And look, I know some people are going to say, hey, Nick Chubb, pair him with Saquon, and that'd be insane. But look, I don't know that that's where we want to allocate our, cap space. And these guys might cost a little bit more, some of those higher end guys. But those are your unrestricted players here. And I'll show you my top fits in a second here. But, I'll give another thing away. Kenny Gainwell's not going to be there. I would like to see him back. But I think he has earned a little bit more money. Not sure we pay to him. But, hey, I would bring Kenny G back. I'll be real with you. But a lot of interesting names. Let me know how you feel about them. And I do also have the unrestricted fullbacks here. So Patrick Card, Gilliam, Burton, Prentice, Welch, and then Corey Blasingame. So some options out there if you are looking to fullback. But I don't know that Kevin Patullo wants to use a fullback. Even with Kellen Moore using the fullback, maybe once, twice a game, if they even used it. And, we started using fullback with Ben Van Sumeren. Then you brought in Blasingame. So for me, we'll talk about when we get to the linebackers, but I've already told you, Ben Van Sumeren is an exclusive rights guy. So you tender him, he signs a cheap deal, you get him for absolutely nothing, bring him back. There you have yourself a fullback. Now, the question is, do you want to spend money on an actual fullback? And I'm not against bringing someone in for competition. Any of those names, honestly, with those fullbacks, I think Patrick Ricard, he'll get paid a little bit, so maybe out of the range there. But look, if you want to use fullback, I'm not against it. But we have the best offensive line in the game, one of the best running backs, I think, in my opinion, the best running back, Saquon Barkley. So you don't need a fullback, but hey, maybe you do. Maybe you surprise us. You bring in a guy like Ricard who can catch the ball, run the ball, block, do all that stuff. So adding another weapon, I'm not against it. But I don't have any fullbacks for my top fits. I'll be real with you. The three I chose were actual running backs. So, but let me know how you feel. Do you think we need to get a fullback? I think you could maybe look for a young guy in this draft. Maybe you want to bring Blasingame back or any of those guys. Again, I'm not against it. Not against it at all. But we're here to talk about running backs, so that's what we're going with on the top fits. And I thought about it. I was like, well, I could add here. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. I already created the graphics. So this is what you're getting. But let's get into these top three. And we're going to start it off with Old Man River, who, well, he started off with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I love when they do that to my graphics. It really makes me super happy. As you can see at the bottom, former teams there. San Francisco is the team that's supposed to be there with them. I don't know why it made it on the line below. That's hilarious. Thank you, Canva. Glad you just took money out right before I started this video. Anyways, so you can see how he did last year. He had one start, 13 games played, though. He had 2 rush touchdowns, 3.3 yards per rush. Not great, but he had 8.5 yards per reception. The dude can catch the ball, run the ball. They've got a lot of talent there. Obviously, I think as he got older, he knew this was happening. They brought Jeff Wilson and he over there to Miami, but you got Devin A-Chain there. So he is the future. But this dude, look, he's 32. This is going to be his 11th season. And last year, you saw him at near the top of that list. He was making like over $3.5 million. But I honestly wanted to put like $2 million. Maybe you could talk him down, but hey, if he can get around the 2.5 mil range, maybe you bring in a guy that can help you in the actual, return game, doing things that I think, for me, he is fun to watch. When he was younger. Now, again, he's old, but I think for me, I would happily. I don't think, this is a guy where, you know, you have to spend too much, and he's not taking Will Shipley's reps. You use him in the return game. You do some things with him. I think. Look, he's old now. I would like to, have a third running back though that is dependable. God forbid anything happen, Shipley would have a guy that is a good backup. So bring him back home on a cheap deal, and I would be a happy man. But I'd more so like to get a little bit younger there with my backup. And again, a guy that can kick return here, Dearness Johnson. And if you're losing Kenny Gainwell, we'll see what they're doing in the return game. Isaiah Rodgers, if he stays. But, Will Shipley, if he's the backup running back, I don't want to use him too much, but hey, maybe you don't need it. But we've talked about Dearness Johnson on this show before. A tough little runner that can catch the ball as well. Didn't have any touchdowns last year, but he did get to start a game. You can see 4.5 yards per carry, 8 yards per reception. And we've talked about him when he was with Cleveland and now with Jacksonville. But, he's 29 years old. He's got some, obviously veteran stuff he can bring to the table. But again, you're looking for an RB3, right? I'm not looking for a backup or even, obviously not the starter. So to me, this is the range I'm going for. A guy that's going to cost you a little bit over $1 million maybe. And you let him compete this offseason. We see what happens. But I think he's a guy that's talented enough that I would be excited about him being the RB3. But my number one fit here, Ty Johnson, another guy we've talked about on this show. Very tough runner. I love his game. 5'10", 210, 27 years old, going to be his 7th season. He had a start last year in 14 games played, had 1 rushing touchdown, 5.2 yards per carry, 15.8 yards per reception. Dude had some nice home run hits, 3 receiving touchdowns there. So I enjoyed his game when he was with the Jets. Really enjoyed watching him with the Bills, getting work even with James Cook there. I think this is a guy that I would be very happy about getting, as your RB3 that can also help you in the return game if you want. I think this is a no-brainer that you should go out and get a guy like him to be that RB3. He plays the role well. He comes in, he wants to catch the ball, do whatever, a couple times a game. But you got a guy that I think fits this culture. I think Ty Johnson, he kind of just, to me, is the epitome of what the Eagles are, and that's straight tough, baby. So I think he would be a fantastic pickup here. And running back, not one of my, super positions of need, but I did talk about the fact that maybe look more so to the draft if you're not getting one of these old guys, or do both. So get yourself an old guy, get yourself somebody in the, mid rounds. I would be perfectly fine with that. Add some competition on the back end here for the running back room. That's all I've got for you, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit that like button, share this bad boy, subscribe, and join the family. But if you guys have anything on your mind, you have a top 3, a top 5, top 10, whatever it is, I'd love to talk some birds with you. So let me know how you're feeling about these free agents. Would you add a fullback? Are you looking at the high-end guys, the low-end? Whatever's on your mind, I would love to hear from you. Hope you're all having yourselves a great day, a great week. If you need anything, you can always reach out to me, whether it's about the birds, life, whatever you got going on. Always here for you guys, as you are for me. So have yourselves a great rest of your night. But until next time, I'm Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there, and as always,